Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Today I'm going to be going over with you guys 5 fragrances that I probably shouldn't have bought. Fragrances that I regret purchasing for one reason or another. Now it should go without saying, but I'm gonna say it anyway. If you really like some of the fragrances that I feature here, don't take that as a personal insult that I don't. I'll explain why I don't like each one of the fragrances that I'm featuring here, because each one of them is for a different reason. But really, just don't get offended. It's not a shot at you. I don't dislike you as a person. I just dislike whichever fragrance it is that I'm talking about. I'm gonna start trying to do more of these as time goes on, because with over 1,000 bottles, there are a lot of ones that I wish I could take back, maybe get a refund on. So you'll see more of these types of videos going forward in the future, but for now, let's jump into this one. Also, a couple of things. Each month going forward, I'm going to be giving away a Max Aroma gift card on my channel. I actually made a post on YouTube about this one, but I'm not sure how many of you saw that. This is how it's gonna work. Do you remember that Max Aroma bundle that I had last month? Some of you do, some of you don't. Each month I pick 3 fragrances from Max Aroma. They put a bundle together featuring those 3 fragrances and put it on sale on their website. Each fragrance comes in one of these, which you've probably seen before. It's like those Scentbird travel atomizers. You know, these deals, the lipstick atomizers. So with each sell of one of these bundles on Max Aroma, I'm supposed to get a 10% commission. So for example, the bundle this month is 50 bucks. Each one of those that sells, I'm supposed to get 5 bucks. But I told Max Aroma that I didn't really want the money, and I asked if I could turn that into a gift card. That way I could give that away on my channel each month. And they said yes. So I've already got the gift card for last month's bundle. I'm gonna be giving that away on the Max Aroma video. And I'll also give away this month's bundle as well, just like last month. So be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna do first a video featuring these 3 fragrances that I picked for this month. It'll be something like 3 awesome fall tobacco fragrances, something like that. In that video, I'll give away this bundle, the one that I have right here, which is unsprayed. After that, I'll be doing a review of Atelier Cologne Tobacco Nuit. On that video, I will give away the gift card that I got for the commission from last month. I'm only bringing this up so that you're on the lookout for those 2 videos in case you want to enter those giveaways. And again, each month going forward, I'll have a new gift card to give to you guys. So hopefully when you guys win, you can go and get yourselves a nice fragrance. Now let's talk about these fragrances I don't like. These are not in any particular order. It's just fragrances that, for one reason or another, I wish I didn't purchase. First up, this one, Moonshine, a gentleman's cologne. So this fragrance actually is the one that I like the smell of the most out of all the ones I'm going to talk about today. It actually doesn't smell that bad at all. It has woods, pepper, gin, leather, and tobacco as some of the notes, and those are notes that I actually really like for the most part. It even comes in a pretty cool packaging. It comes in a wooden box, and you kind of slide the top open, and then there's a burlap sack inside that this is in. The reason I wish I didn't purchase this one is because it's just a giant pain in the butt to use, and where I have so many different fragrances, I decided to basically never wear it because of the complication of wearing it. And here's what I'm talking about. This is how it comes, with this little screw top. And I get it, you know, Moonshine, a Moonshine bottle, so it has the little screw top. It goes along with the aesthetic that they want. But anyway, it just has this screw top, and it's basically a splash, but not like most splashes out there. So here you can see the size of the opening of the bottle. It's too big to accurately put into your hand and do the old school kind of rub down and then put it wherever. You can kind of do this deal and put your thumb over the top and give it a shake and then kind of dab where you want it to go. But really, it's just a gigantic pain in the butt to use. Calvin Klein does that with all their CK1 summer releases. It comes with a screw top, but then on the inside of the box, it has a separate atomizer. So you can take the screw top off, screw on the atomizer, and then use it normally. And it's not like this is an eau de cologne, like a really light fragrance. It's an eau de toilette. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense for it to be packaged like this. I know overall that might seem like a small thing to a lot of you out there, but when you just want to grab something and go, you don't necessarily want to fiddle around with something like this. So despite it smelling pretty good, I never really used it. Yeah, a lot's missing, and that's because I decanted that much of it. And I guess technically I could have just decanted that into small bottles and carried those around spraying myself. But again, that's an added step that I don't really care to take when I've got all this other stuff I could be wearing. So that's why Moonshine makes this list. But again, it's actually a pretty nice fragrance. And there's a close-up of the bottle so you can see how it looks. It's pretty simple, but it does look nice. Next up is a fragrance that I got in the largest size, which honestly, if you're gonna wear this fragrance, you probably want it in the largest size. I'll talk about why in a second. It's this fragrance, Dolce Gabbana The One Sport. As you can see here, this is a massive 150 milliliter size bottle. This has rosemary, cardamom, musk, and woods, and of course, watery notes. When this was released, it was pitched as a lighter and more sporty version of the One, while still being elegant and luxurious. It's a super aquatic fragrance. I mean, very, very aquatic. And it definitely does come across refreshing and fresh. It does come across sporty, but unfortunately it has no performance at all. This is one of the weaker fragrances in my entire collection. Not even messing with you guys, a lot of times you can't even pick this fragrance up 30 minutes after you spray it on. So while when you spray this on, you do get that refreshing feeling, that aquatic freshness, doesn't really matter because it's gonna be gone before you leave the house or leave wherever you're at. While the fragrance is on your skin, it actually smells pretty nice. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking, but it is a nice smelling, pleasant aquatic. But with the absolute trash performance that it has, it's not really worth picking up. I did get this for a decent deal, so at least that's a positive, but I never use this, and I'm never in a million years gonna go through 150 milliliters of this stuff, so it's just gonna sit there in my collection basically forever. Maybe I'll give it away to my brother or something. And it's basically just a forgotten entry in the One line at this point. So yeah, Dolce Gabbana The One Sport, don't really care to have it. Next up is an Armaf fragrance. You guys know Armaf, they're a huge clone house. They've cloned basically everything under the sun, and they're very hit or miss. Some of their clones are really highly respected, other clones of theirs are absolutely terrible. I mean, really water trash terrible. This one is not Armaf Craze Fraiche, though it could be. It's also not Armaf Craze Blue, though again, it could be. This one is a fragrance that got a little bit of hype when it was released. I stupidly bought into the hype and purchased this and then was immediately let down. It's this one, Armaf Tag Helm. This fragrance, for the uninitiated, is supposed to be a Chanel Bleu de Chanel clone. And I still remember this. The tag has kind of like a rust around it. It was like that when I got it brand new. So here's a close-up of the tag so you can see what I'm talking about, kind of around the edges. And here's the bottle, nice and tacky, like Armaf likes to do. And this one has a magnetic cap, but it's basically the weakest magnet of all time. It's one of those things that kind of makes you say, why'd you do that? You went to the expense of getting a magnetic cap, but then it barely stays on. I don't understand the point. But still, magnetic cap, or sort of magnetic. This one has mint, pink pepper, lemon, grapefruit, and ginger as some of the notes. Again, it's a clone of Bleu de Chanel, so a lot of the notes here match up with Bleu de Chanel. This one, off my skin, smells cheap, and it has poor performance. I remember a number of people saying that this was really, really close, 95% similar to Bleu de Chanel. So when I got this in the mail, I was really excited to try it out, sprayed it on my skin, gave it a wearing, and like I said, was let down. The quality here is just noticeably cheap. It comes off your skin smelling very, very synthetic as compared to Bleu de Chanel. The opening of Tag Helm is okay. It's close to Bleu de Chanel. Obviously, there's still a quality difference, but it's close enough that if you wanted a really discount version of Bleu de Chanel, it could be passable. But the more that Tag Helm dries down, the more it just falls apart. And that's something that it shares with Armaf Club de Nuit Urban Man. I've reviewed Club de Nuit Urban Man. That one is kind of a why does this exist fragrance. Basically a sort of meld of Mr. Burberry Eau de Toilette and Eau de Parfum. Like Armaf put those fragrances together and then clone them, which kind of begs the question, why? Mr. Burberry is not an expensive fragrance, at least from discounters. And then you clone them and do a poor job of it. But Armaf didn't care. They cloned them anyway and put out a really poor clone. Talking about Club de Nuit Urban Man, which honestly could have made this list too and might make a future one. Anyway, this shares that same similarity with Club de Nuit Urban Man in that it falls apart the longer it's on your skin. Comes across more and more and more synthetic. The notes just don't jive. There's no depth, there's no richness. Some people have said it starts to come off like a weird rubber. It's just not a very good clone, in my opinion. A better clone that's a better take on Bleu de Chanel than Tag Heuer while still being cheap is Perry Ellis for Men. Perry Ellis for Men is a little bit higher quality than Tag Heuer, but it's still pretty inexpensive from discounters. So if you want a cheap Bleu de Chanel clone, in my opinion, Perry Ellis for Men is gonna be a better bet than this one. Plus the bottle on the Perry Ellis looks nicer than this one. All right, next up is a more recent purchase, and this one was a big letdown for me. It's this one, Banana Republic Dark Cherry and Amber. If you keep up with my first impression videos, this one may look familiar to you. This one has notes of black cherry, praline, freesia, and red amber. And this one is probably, if not the worst, one of the worst Banana Republic fragrances that I've smelled. Now it opens up smelling pretty decent. You do get cherry off the top, and that smells nice, and it is a darker cherry. It's got a bit of fruity freshness in there, but it also has praline and amber as well. So you have a deeper kind of sweetness with it instead of a more sugary sweetness. You also get a little bit of fresh florals with the freesia, and again, initially, nothing to complain about. It comes across completely unisex and initially smells in line with what you would expect from the Banana Republic Icon line, which is a line of fragrances that's actually pretty good for being a clothing store kind of fragrance. I don't know why I did clothing store in quotations. Banana Republic is a clothing store. Anyway, with this one, the longer it dries down, similar to Tag Heuer, the worse it gets. The wheels fall off and it just ends up smelling like a jumbled mess. I talk more about that one in the first impression video, so if you're interested, you can check that out. It was maybe a few weeks ago, but this one is just an enormous freaking letdown for me. The Icon line has some very good fragrances in there, especially some big favorites of mine like 78 Vintage Green and Neroli Woods. That one though, Dark Cherry and Amber, thumbs down. This one, Tobacco and Tonka Bean, is much better. This one's got kind of a similar vibe to Rich Warm Addictive, which was a really hyped tobacco fragrance from Zara. Tobacco and Tonka Bean obviously has tobacco and tonka, like in the name of the fragrance, but it also has coconut, which is interesting and gives it a little bit of a twist. So this one is one that I regret purchasing, just a waste of money. It's not very good. Tobacco and Tonka Bean though, pretty solid. And that's gonna take me to the last fragrance of these 5, and it is very, very expensive, this fragrance, and I don't like it. I actually featured this in my most expensive fragrances in my collection video, and I'm featuring it here in fragrances I wish I had never purchased. Clive Christian #1. Check out that reflective bottle, wow. This one has a ton of floral notes in it. Jasmine, rose, heliotrope, ylang-ylang, iris, and more. This actually retails for $850 US for this size bottle. Thankfully, I didn't pay that much. I got a deal on this, but even getting a deal, I paid too much because I will never wear this fragrance. I know that this fragrance has its fans, especially I guess among
the 1%,
which I am not a member of for the record. But for me, there's really no occasion that I'm going to say, wow, I would love to wear #1 over anything else in my collection. Obviously, this isn't a casual wear kind of fragrance, at least not for me. Very heavy on the florals, a bit dusty, powdery. A lot of people would say maybe that it even comes across like a grandma kind of fragrance, like grandma's soap or something. So it's not really something that I even find appealing. I know it's super expensive, but super expensive does not always equal great. And in my opinion, this one is not great. I know there will be some people out there that think this is fantastic, amazing, etc., etc., etc. But for me, this one's a big regret. Realistically, the only reason I bought it is because it was a pretty good deal and I knew how much it retailed for, so I went ahead and picked it up. But then upon getting it in, giving it some wears, I realized this one is really just not for me. So that's the last one on this list, Clive Christian #1. Like I said, over the years, I've made a bunch of purchases, which you can tell. And a lot of those purchases didn't work out. So again, in the future, I'll try to feature more things like this where I let you know some of those purchases that just didn't pan out for me. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. I appreciate all your support. I'll see you guys again next time with another fragrance video. See you guys.